Linda here with Mindy's Craft Shack. Hey, before we get started, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, subscribe, push that button right there, and go ahead, ring that bell for new notifications. Now, let's go have some fun. Today I'm making my hot cocoa drip coffee mug. The supplies you'll need for this project are your 14-ounce coffee mug with handle. You'll also need, of course, your epoxy. And I use the Alumilite Clear Cast UV resistant epoxy. It works wonderfully. I used printable vinyl for the cookies, and then I also personalized this mug, so I just used a regular glossy vinyl for this. For the front picture, I went ahead and I used a white water slide. Now, I used to use the printable vinyl for this, but because of the way the tumbler curves, I always ended up, whenever I'd go to lay it down, it would always bunch up and it wouldn't lay down flat. And it was so frustrating. I would get so frustrated. I'd have to cut pieces, and then you could tell where I cut. So I finally bought me some white water slide, and it lays nice and flat. I don't have the bunching problem. And so I say bye-bye to that printable vinyl for if you're using it on this tumbler with a major curve on it. You'll need alcohol ink for the drip, and then of course you'll need Rustoliem spray paint so you can spray paint the base of your cup, and last but not least, you need that glitter. Now, if you didn't catch everything on that list, I will have it listed in the description below, along with the link. Now that you have the list of supplies, let's get started. To start, I've sanded and prepared my 14-ounce coffee mug with Rustoliem Sun Yellow spray paint. I've mixed a total of 5 mils of Alumilite Epoxy. Remember, you want to make sure you have equal parts of A and B to ensure that it cures properly. The amount of the epoxy I put in my hand is equal to the size of a nickel, because this epoxy layer is going to be paper thin, because you're just using it to be able to get that glitter to adhere to the mug. Also, you want to make sure you pay close special attention to the handle and make sure you get where the handle meets the mug. Now that I have my mug epoxied, I'm going to go ahead and get the glitter on. Now, this glitter I got from Michael's, and it's the Sunflower Yellow by Recollections. As I'm glittering it, I'm going to make sure I have full coverage from top to bottom. Also, I'm going to pay special attention to that handle, making sure I get glitter in those creases. Once I get the glitter on my mug, I'll let it hang dry for about 3 hours. At that time, I'll spray it with Rustoliem Clear Matte Finish, then let it dry for at least another 30 minutes. After all the dry times are done, we are ready to put the first coat of epoxy. This will be your flood coat. For the flood coat, I mixed about 20 mils of epoxy. It's a little more than what I'll need, but I want to make sure I have plenty to cover the mug and the handle. When I'm done applying the epoxy, I'm going to have it turn in my heat box. This cuts my drying time down to about 90 minutes. Here I'm decorating the mug with all the decals and putting the personalization on it. Time for the drip. I've mixed about 20 mils of epoxy for this step, and I'm adding my alcohol ink to it. Then I'm going to let it set. This usually takes about 40 minutes, but I start checking it after 25 minutes. When I check the epoxy, I'm checking for the consistency. I don't want it to be too thin where I can't control the drip. An easy way for me to see how fast it moves is to scrape off my popsicle stick on the medicine cup. If the epoxy moves fast, I let it set a little longer. When the consistency is to my liking, I start adding it to the rim of my cup. As I'm adding it to the rim, I do tilt it from time to time to start getting that drip going. You can see that it's starting to drip down. I tilt it on its side, I tilt it going up and down, upside down, any which way I can get those drips to start. Now, you can take your popsicle stick and kind of lead the drips where you want them to go. As I get to the handle, I just kind of start putting like a glob of epoxy there, and then just kind of let it drip over that handle. Once I have enough of the drips on, I go ahead and put it on my turner and add more to the rim. I always add more to the rim because it's pretty thin and I don't like it too thin. Also, this time you are not going to put this in the heat box. It will melt those drips away. So I've let the drips cure for about 12 hours, and now I'm going to go ahead and take my teakwood alcohol ink and a couple of drops of my black, mix it together and start painting the drips. This just makes it darker and makes it look like that chocolate. After I've painted it, I go ahead and take a little bit of cotton and dip it in some 91% alcohol and just go around those edges and clean them up a little bit. Then I'm going to epoxy it. By then it's, the alcohol ink is dry. I go ahead and let it turn for about 6 hours and then hang dry for another 6. Again, I do not put this in the heat box at this time. If I was to do that, then those alcohol inks are going to run. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Then subscribe and ring that bell for notifications of new videos. Also, don't be shy and leave me a comment down below. Links to all the supplies are listed in the description, along with links to my private Facebook group and other social medias. I hope you have a great and safe day. Bye!